You read pages of books, but if someone asks, you have no idea what you've read because your body is there, but your mind has already flown somewhere else. Do you find yourself repeatedly going back to reread the same pages, or do you move from one room to another, but when you get there, you have no idea why you're there? This is often because our brains are in autopilot mode. In other words, we spend a significant portion of our day in this mode. So, what is this autopilot mode? What are its pros and cons, and what can we do to get out of it? In this video, our minds are like playful monkeys in the forest, jumping from one thought to another, unable to stay still because of its playful and dynamic nature. It's referred to as the monkey mind. In the Far East, the monkey mind is also very talkative. From the moment you wake up until you go to bed, it constantly narrates things to you, usually about past pains, longings, regrets, or future plans and potential disaster scenarios. Ultimately, the modern human typically faces three problems: excessive thinking, forgetfulness, and lack of attention. While in some individuals, these may be due to basic deficiencies such as B12, and others physiological problems related to additional conditions might be the cause. For some, they may be seen as additional symptoms of conditions like depression, anxiety, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, etc. However, for many of us, the cause of these troubles is highly uncertain. In our rapidly changing and stressful world, our efforts to survive often lead to our brains going into autopilot mode. Sometimes you get in a car, start it, and suddenly you realize you've arrived at your destination without remembering the journey. Or you have a thought in your head, deeply immersed in it, and at the same time, you've accomplished a lot of physical work. Suddenly, you realize that a lot of tasks have been completed without you even noticing. In such situations, the autopilot mode of the brain is active, allowing you to do many things at once when your mind wanders to other places. Daydreaming while thinking about the past or the future, the autopilot mode is usually active, and it is indeed necessary in the fast-paced world. We are expected to do many things at the same time, therefore, our brains constantly encourage us to perform some tasks automatically without much thought, without being very conscious, and without spending much attention. Thanks to the autopilot mode, we operate with our habits. However, when we stay in this mode for too long or lose balance, some side effects can occur. Yes, the autopilot mode allows us to do some things automatically without much thought, effort, or time for many small tasks. But when we stay in this mode for too long or lose balance, some side effects can occur. While it provides convenience, sometimes it can lead us to do foolish things. For instance, I've unintentionally put scissors in the refrigerator and later found myself searching for them for a long time, or tried to close a jar with the lid of a teapot, or searched for a pin while holding one. We are on autopilot in situations like these. As a result of staying on autopilot for an extended period, we may experience focus problems, long-term carelessness, and related clumsiness. Forgetfulness may occur. Additionally, constantly running background thoughts, like having dozens of windows open on a computer or running many programs simultaneously, strain and stress the system. In this sense, mental fatigue can lead to problems such as anxiety, worry, and depression in the long run. When we stay on autopilot for a long time, our individual and environmental awareness also decrease. We look but don't see, or we hear but don't listen. In fact, the long-term result of this is that we breathe but don't truly live, because most of the time we live, not by being aware of the moment ourselves and the external world, enjoying them, but by living on autopilot and not realizing it. Thinking about and analyzing the past, learning from our experiences, or taking precautions for the future is certainly not wrong. Of course, we will think about the past and the future. The problem is the imbalance in this, spending too much of the day in the past or the future, not being in the present moment. Often, being on autopilot starts to disturb the balance. So, how much of your day do you spend on autopilot? Based on what I've shared, if you could share your comments percentage-wise, we would be happy. Let's see what percentage of our followers are in which modes most of the day and how we can get out of autopilot mode. How can we train the monkey mind that jumps from one place to another? How can we deal with problems like overthinking, clumsiness, forgetfulness, and lack of focus? To get out of autopilot, we first need to slow down. Slowing down is the first step in disengaging the autopilot and bringing our minds from the past and future to the present moment. Because you can't enjoy the scenery from a fast-moving car's window. Oh, I don't have time, don't say that. I'm only asking for a few extra minutes from you each day. There is an experiment conducted with individuals diagnosed with depression. In this experiment, they are asked to choose a daily routine activity that they usually do quickly and hurriedly, and to do this activity by allocating a few extra minutes to it, enjoying it more slowly and with awareness. For example, brushing teeth, eating, or walking to the subway. Choose an activity that you do hastily every day and do this activity a bit more slowly and with more awareness. So, what does it mean to do it with awareness? Doing it with awareness means that your mind is completely present while doing the task. It means being aware of what is happening right now and here, not in the past or the future. It means being fully present with all your feelings, thoughts, and actions. Sensations, for example, when I choose walking as an activity, what sounds do I hear as I walk? Can I hear bird sounds, or is it mostly the noise of exhaust or crowds? When I step my foot on the ground while walking, what kind of sensation is that? What is the surface like? Is it rough, uneven, flat, or slippery? What are the predominant colors in the surroundings, especially when I move my arm while walking? How does the wind that touches my skin leave a sensation on my skin? What kind of sensation is it, or maybe a sound that arises from my arm touching my clothes? What kind of sound is it? It's all about being present in the moment, and here you can also try any activity for a month. For example, in the second stage of the experiment, participants are asked to answer the following questions in writing. Doing it this way, slowly and mindfully, enjoying it as opposed to rushing through it. How does it make you feel? Is there any difference in your emotional state? The majority of the participants mentioned that doing it this way made them feel much better, and indeed, the research showed an increase in happiness levels and a decrease in depression among the participants. Why? Because, in fact, these participants consciously or unconsciously practice staying in the moment. In other words, mindfulness, when you direct your now and when you can observe it as an observer without judging it, your mind puts aside the regrets.